Hello, this is Grandma Jan from Red Toad Art Studio, and today I am going to try to make kind of a scary collage. It is Halloween after all, for me it's just a couple 3 weeks away. So I am making a collage about something I think that has affected us all, and when we're littler especially, has really scared us. So let's just start. This is going to be a collage about a little boy. I don't know, he's probably 6 or 7 years old, and it's nighttime, and he's in his room all alone. Now, since he's a little boy, they have little boy wallpaper set up for him. A really cute wallpaper. It's horses and cowboys and yippee roundup. It's really neat old-fashioned looking wallpaper. So let's go ahead and get his wallpaper down. I found this in some scrapbooking paper, and I cut it to fit my journal. And I think we'll work on this side today because this has lots of little pieces in it and I want to lay my book flat. So, first step we need to do is glue our background in. And we'll do it like we usually do. We'll just put a line of glue here and work it down till we have the whole background in. There we go. Now I'm going to try something in this video, and you tell me in the comments what you think. When I publish my thumbnail, I show a finished picture of what we're making. But I know that when I'm looking at others make a collage, I kind of like to see it step by step and not know what the finished product is until the very end. So, you viewers out there, do you prefer a thumbnail that doesn't give anything away except maybe a hint in the title, and you have to watch the video to see what that person makes of these things? Or do you like to see the finished product? I think in this one, I am going to go step by step and just show you each step, and you won't know the finished product until the end. But we'll see. Okay, the next thing we need to do, and I will say right now, I have cut out most of the pieces for this. I haven't inked all of them, but the fussy cutting that takes so much time, I've already done that. And I will probably ink most of them off camera because that's very time consuming. And you only need to watch inking once or twice and you know how to do it. So if you're new to my channel, you can go back to any of my, over 100 videos making collages, and I show inking in them. So the next thing we do, this is a room. This is a little boy's bedroom, and he will have a floor in it. I think maybe this is a little deeper than we want. So let's trim that down. I'm just eyeballing it there. And one of these pieces will be the right size, I'm sure. I think this is what we'll do. Right there. Would this one be better? Because I tell you, we do have a door to put here, and I want there to be room. And we also have a baseboard above our carpet. Like a lot of old houses especially have baseboards. I think that will be just fine there. Now you saw several of my steps right there. But let's take it one at a time here. One thing at a time. Now, let's get our wood floor, it looks like, in. And we need to cut right here. And let's get that glued in while we're here. In my mind, I feel like this is an old house that the boy is living in with his parents, of course. Let's get this down nice and tight and give the background a swish. Be sure everything is a good foundation for the rest of our picture. All right, and then we need to put our baseboard in. Okay, the next thing we have to work on a little bit. There is going to be a door right here. Now just imagine you're laying in bed and it's night. And it's probably kind of a rainy night. The wind's blowing and it's kind of scary out. And you're looking at a door. Can you figure out what that door is in your room? It's not the one out to the hallway. It's not the one that goes out to mom and dad. It's the one that goes into that scary little room that's in your room called a closet. So, I made this closet door. It's only partially made by drawing this onto a piece of cardstock, and then I drew these lines in. And this is the door frame, which I've got to cut the door out of because this door doesn't stay closed. You're laying in bed at night and this door creeps open just a little bit. You can hear the when it opens. So we have to make this door openable. Now, so I think we'll put a doorknob on this side so it opens this way. We have to cut it out of its frame, and partially, I think, I'm not sure how this works. It may have to all come out and I put hinges on, or maybe if I cut partial cuts in this side, maybe it can stay hooked to the door frame. So that's what we got to figure out. And then when the door opens, we have to get the panels drawn on this side. So this part is a little tricky. I think the first thing we should do is cut out here and here and see how the door does on the frame. So our door is here, and it will open this way. So my question is, do we just bend this? We can try and see what happens. I think I'll use a ruler to help on this. Now, if you were with me earlier, we did a piece of furniture that had a door in it. And my door really hasn't lasted well. It didn't fit the best because I cut the door totally out. So this time I want to try leaving the door in so that it acts as the hinges. Now, at this stage, I think perhaps we should go ahead and draw the back of the door in. Now, it's not going to be real easy to match this side. So, let me note where this line's going across. All right. And we can put that line in. I'm going to do it in pencil first. And then I'm just going to eyeball a couple of the squares. Well, let me get my ruler out. I'm a little crooked here. Luckily, I can erase. And we're not aiming for perfection. Okay, let's draw it in here. So there's the inside of the door for now. So what we're going to want to do is to glue the door frame down. But before we do that, when we open that door, we just see the wall. That's not what will happen, is it? So I think we need to cut a piece of black that is the same size as the door frame. So when we open the door, we see what? It's dark in there. Woohoo! Scary. So let's trace out the outline of this door and cut it out. We probably should have traced this before I cut the door. It would have been easier, but that's all right. We can still do it just fine, and if there's any that's too big, we can trim it off. We just need enough of the black in the door frame to hold it on. let's try that. And what is beyond the door is right there. I think I will glue it to the frame though, so that if I need to trim the edges, I can. Because if I glue it to the wall, and then I glue it to the frame, and there's some black sticking out, it will be impossible to cut. So, let's get glue on the frame and put it on the black piece. Now, this is my outside. I drew it in different pen. That doesn't matter. It'll only show from the front or the back, open or closed. I'm going to pull this out a little on the right side of the door so that I can get glue all over it. There we go. Because I want that door frame to really hold well. And here we need glue too. Okay. And we'll put the black piece on. That went on a little crooked, didn't it? There we go. And yes, we did have a little black showing around the edges, and let's get rid of that. Just because I'm not a very good measurer. I'm not that I can't, I guess I must say, but I don't like to have to get so detailed that the collages cease to be fun. Now let's be sure our door can open. There we are. So we need to glue our door frame and our door in. Now I want to leave room for a picture over here. He has a picture on the wall. So our door will need to fit so that the picture still fits on that wall. So what I need to do, is just glue the whole back of this. You can tell I put it on there crooked, can't you? But it won't hurt. This whole back gets glued. So let's do that. Be sure we have room. And we want the baseboard all the way down. And then be sure our door is straight. This baseboard got cut a little shorter. Okay, how is that? That doesn't interfere with our turning the page. There we are. Where does the door open? Into the dark. Now, let's see. We'll have a doorknob, and what I'm using for a doorknob, I don't know if you've ever done these. These little acrylic dots. I make my own. I buy these little round, like barrel beads, I think that's what they're called, and melt them in a little oven and make my own acrylic dots. And I thought that would be a perfect doorknob. We might want to shadow some of these squares too. Let me see if I have a pen that would be the right color to do that. So let's say there's a light coming from this way. It will make a shadow in these little squares. Just a little bit of shadow. Now, if I had been thinking, I would have done a lot of this work when it was still a flat piece of paper. So if you decide to do something like this, you will be warned. It might be a good idea to do all the artwork first. Let's see, if my bed is though, the shadow might be right up here. I go quite crooked in this book. And let's do just a round of that on the inside ones. If the door is open, now my black ink kind of bled through, but what's done is done, and that's fine. Those are things for you to watch out for a little bit when you make your own. Now, I'm not going to put a doorknob, I don't think, on the inside because I don't want it to be a big lump in my book. It's going to be bad enough having this one in my book because it will cause a bump in the following page. So I'll need to be careful what I collage over here that I don't mind a little bump showing. But let's go ahead and glue the doorknob down. Instead of a stick glue, I'm going to use a little tacky glue for that. We're just going to put a dot on there. In fact, I believe this was Aileen's tacky glue. I put it in a little, I don't know what you call it. You buy them for the kitchen for ketchup and mustard and things. They make wonderful glue bottles. And then we're just going to drop the knob right there. So we basically have our room built with the door to the closet. Okay, we've got to let that dry now. I probably should have waited, but going to have to dry sooner or later. So while that's drying, let's work on our picture. Now, this is a little boy's room, so I was hunting for something to make a picture out of. And I found this, I guess he's a robot or some kind of ranger, but he looks like something a little boy would like. And I traced around this, and I'm going to paste that in for his picture. So let's do that while our doorknob is drying. In fact, let's lay something on the door so that it doesn't flip open and my knob starts floating some direction or other. And let's cut out our picture. And there we are. Perfect little boy's picture. So let's put glue on the back side of the frame. I love these little frames. In fact, I get these out of embossed frames. It's from Ancestry.com at some time or another. I don't know if you can still buy these or if they're on Amazon, but it's AC embossed die cut paper frames, code 550988, and it has all kinds of neat frames in it. There you go. If you can find that. If I can, I'll put it in a link to it. But this has been years that I've had that, and I never really used it too much until lately. there's our picture. And I think it will be glued right about there. And I think we can go ahead and do that. It's not quite dry yet, so we'll just get that glued down. There we go. I think this is a cute little room. Kind of dark. The wallpaper is definitely something that makes it dark. But if you had light colored furniture in here, it would be cute. But at night, with a door that's going, and it's dark in there. So, yeah, I think that's stuck enough. We can work on the inside a little bit now. I haven't cut it yet, but I think there's going to be a shelf up there like there is in most closets. Yeah, and I have some extra of this color that would make a great shelf drawn. So let's just cut out here a shelf to glue across. It'll go about there. And we'll put a couple things on it, just like would be in the closet. Be good if our We'll have to cut that off in a minute when it dries. And I had something to go on that shelf. I have some folded up blankets here. You'll have to excuse my clumsiness. I'm wearing an arthritis brace on my finger. I'm trying to get used to it. And since they don't bend the way they used to, it's hard for me to pick up little pieces of paper. But there's a blanket. Maybe only get 2 blankets in. Let's see. There we go. We'll put those at the top. These are for cold, rainy, snowy winter nights. Although my little boy is too short to reach these, so somebody will have to come in and get them for him. I imagine Mommy or Daddy does that. There's our blankets. And let's see. You know, there's probably things hooked to the back of the door. Like a bathrobe. And like a jacket. And we have those things hanging on the closet door. What do you think? Yeah, I think. Now, I had to draw these out of scrap pieces of paper. You can't find much of clothes hanging when it comes to pictures in your books. When you do a picture like this, you about have to draw a good share of it, or put it together from other sources. I did find a picture of some kitchen aprons hanging up, but it just doesn't seem like what a little boy would have in his room. Now, so far, there's nothing really scary. We'll have to do something about that, won't we? Now, I've got some toys and stuff. Let's see. It's a little boy, so he's got toys all over. Let's see what we've got. He might have that stuffed into the closet somewhere. He probably has one outside of the closet on the floor. And here's this little truck. It needs to be cut. Well, wouldn't you know it? My battery just died in my camera, and I didn't know it. It didn't give me the warning it usually gives me when it's about to die, unfortunately. So I will go ahead and explain what I did in this video to finish it off. The little stuffed animal that you saw in the closet, I decided to put down here in the corner. Kind of fills it out. And the little boy decided he wanted a poster on his door, so he tacked that on his door. I don't think his parents liked him doing that, putting tacks on the door, but he did anyway. Now, you missed what was inside of this door that was scaring the little boy. Imagine it's at nighttime, it's dark, rain is hitting the window, and there's howling wind out there. And he's in the room by himself in bed with the lights out. But, you know, in the lightning flashes, he can see this little white thing at the edge of his closet door. And what is that? And he sits up in bed and he's scared. And suddenly he hears, and the door starts opening. And it swings open. And that's what's in his closet. A skeleton is in his closet. He knew it. There was really a skeleton in his closet. And this is what we glued in. And I missed all the explanation of the skeleton. Let me get these out again. I have included a link to a pattern for a big skeleton. This is Mr. Skeleton. And if you cut out around the edges after you've printed them on something like cardstock and used paper fasteners, you can fasten him together, and he is a movable skeleton that can hang up or be put somewhere in your room. Now, he's much too big to fit in this closet. So, if you print him at 50% on your printer, you can get this little skeleton. Isn't he cute? But he's little. Now, when I say 50%, look at your dialog box for your printer, and most of them will have a spot that allows you to change the percentage that you want printed, or the size you want printed. And mine does, and at 50 in there, I got this tiny guy. At 70, I got this a little bigger guy. But the perfect size for my closet was 60% of the original image. So off of this image that I'm giving you a link to, you can print any size skeleton that you want. So feel free to download that. It costs nothing. It's just for your fun. But here is our finished collage. I feel frustrated that the end didn't take, but you know, dead batteries do that to us. And it was almost done anyway. I think you'll have no problem figuring out how to glue this guy in. You have to cut him out, I'd say inside the dotted lines if you can, and glue the arms and legs onto him. Now, when I say left leg, I mean when I'm facing him, it's the left leg this way. It says right, and it's the right as I'm looking at him, my right. But it will look okay any way you do it. And then we did a little bit of smudging on him with ink. I think that's all we really did that you missed. So, I hope this gives you an idea kind of how to make your story with a collage and make a Halloween collage. You know, what's better than a creepy story and a creepy collage with Halloween coming up. So, I will say bye-bye for now. Happy Halloween. Have a good trick-or-treating day. And bye-bye.